The media is saying, well, Rose doesn't have the help around him that LeBron does. Rose is more important to his team than LeBron, more valuable, because LeBron has Wade and Bosh. Now, let's do this point by point. Okay? First of all, Part A. Which team has more wins, the Heat or the Bulls?
Heat.
Yeah, the Heat. So that's first point. Usually, team with the most wins in an MVP race like that, the better player wins. Okay, who do you guys consider to be the better actual basketball player, LeBron or Rose?
LeBron.
It's not even
Best
close.
basketball player in the world.
Okay.
And this is coming from a hardcore Chicago Bulls fan. I mean, facts are facts. Sorry, keep asking your questions. I just talk a lot.
All right, so one by one, I want you guys, because I agree, and I'll start it off, and then you guys can, if you have anything to add, because you may just agree with what I say. See, I think that it's basically impossible for Rose to be a better player than LeBron, because LeBron's taller, okay, and he's just more gifted as an athlete than Rose. I think Rose is more dynamic in that, I mean, you know, he's faster than LeBron, and, you know, his uncanny ability to get to the basket, that's why I call him dynamic. Basically, by dynamic, I mean just basically faster. He's more of an explosive slasher to the basket. But, with that being said, I think LeBron's a better shooter. LeBron's obviously a better rebounder. LeBron's a better defender by a country mile. The passing, we could probably call that about a tie. The scoring, LeBron's a better scorer. So basically, I think when you start breaking down the simple facets to each of their games, I mean, we could get into who's the better help defender, who's better away from the ball, and that'd be LeBron. You know, I mean, we could get into the on-ball defense and all of that stuff, the catch and shoot. But I think that in the basic categories, which basically encapsulates all of the other minor categories that make up the major ones, LeBron is just an all-around better basketball player. And he's more consistent and more efficient. So does anybody have anything they want to add to that?
Well, you know, I personally feel like LeBron is a better passer as well. You know, that's just my opinion. You know, I know Rose averages more assists, but I guess I'm talking about, like, you know, passing out of the double team, cross-court passes. Sometimes you see LeBron doing these cross-court passes, and you don't know how he pulls them off, and he does them quite often. So, I mean, I think he's a little better passer as well. Like you said, more explosive D. Rose, more dynamic D. Rose. But just from an all-around standpoint and value to a team, I think LeBron is, you know, in his own class in the current NBA.
Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Yeah, I think LeBron James is probably the only player in history you can look at past seasons to determine who the MVP is this year. And by that, I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, he's got Wade, he's got Bosh, and for the record, Bosh isn't blowing anyone away this year.
No.
Wade is still having a tremendous season, but he's got no big man there. And I think you got to look back to the fact that LeBron was doing the same exact thing in Cleveland last year to remember how good this guy actually is. Obviously, they're different positions, and LeBron's going to win on the rebounding, but I think LeBron puts it all together. He can shoot, he can rebound, pass, do it all, play defense, and Rose is very good at those, but I don't think he's better than LeBron at really any of them.
Okay, and I want to, Shawn, do you have anything to add?
No. Go with what you have to say, and then I have a good point to bring up after you're done.
Okay, this is where I want to go with this. Okay? Who can name off Larry Bird's 3 best teammates?
Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson.
Very good. So, who held that against Larry Bird? Did anybody hold that against Bird? No.
But was anyone trying to make Bird the best player? I mean, I don't know. I wasn't alive then.
Well,
yeah.
Were people trying to make Bird the best player of all time? And did people realize Jordan was the best player of all time at that point, too?
Not yet. At that point in time, it was the Bird and Magic show. Okay? And before Bird won his first MVP, Moses Malone won back-to-back MVPs, one of the most overrated players ever. My gosh, do people underrated. One of the most underrated players ever.
Yeah, I just gasped for air real quick as you said overrated. I was like, what?
No, I meant underrated. I apologize.
Yeah.
But Larry Bird won 3 MVPs in a row. Okay? With a supporting cast like he had. Now, how does it make sense that Larry Bird won 3 MVPs in a row with the supporting cast he had? Because he was clearly the best player in the NBA. He was. I was a Magic fan, but I knew Larry was better because he could do everything Magic could do. I mean, Larry Bird's passing abilities, like LeBron, he made some amazing passes. He would get out and run the floor. You know, obviously a great scorer, great rebounder. I think Larry Bird was a very underrated defender. Now, his physical limitations limited his defensive abilities to a certain degree, but his effort was always there on defense. He was certainly a very determined defensive player. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy who had Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, and Dennis Johnson, and we're saying that LeBron can't win MVP, his 3rd straight, because he's got Bosh and Wade. So the next way I want to take this, because I've been thinking about this a lot, the next route I want to take with this is, let's compare the Bulls team to the Heat, because the reason they're holding this MVP from LeBron, we'll get to the underlining reason in a second, but what the media is trying to say is because LeBron has Wade and Bosh, then Wade is more important. So, who here would agree with me that Chris Bosh and Carlos Boozer are bad defenders?
Yeah, Boozer's terrible.
Okay, does anybody think Bosh is a better defender than Boozer?
No, I think they're both really weak defensively.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their game is offense.
All right, so we agree that they're both bad defenders. So, let's take a look at their offensive game. Okay? Carlos Boozer is a 20-10 player. Chris Bosh is an 18-8. Okay? Boozer's at 19-1, 9-7. Bosh is at 18-3, 8-1. Now, someone might say, well, Boozer only played for 39 games. Bosh played for 55. Okay, if that 16-game difference is going to be the difference, well, then that's on you. I think Boozer and Bosh basically cancel themselves out. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at the rosters at a talent standpoint. Now, I don't even think I have to ask. We all know that the Bulls have nobody that compares to Wade, and you could even question if D. Rose compares to Wade right now. But with that being said, the Bulls have a higher-ranked defense than the Heat. And I believe that from observing both teams, that the Chicago Bulls play a much more coordinated team defense than the Heat. Now, does anybody want to disagree with that?
Consistency, yeah, definitely. If you're talking about just comparison with the Heat, yeah. But the Bulls have their lapses. That's what you see that in some certain games.
And what happens when the defense lapses?
They can't. They don't play well at all. They lose.
Yes. So
they can't be offensively carried. That's what I'm trying to say.
And we've seen nights where D. Rose had a lot of lapses and didn't play well, and we still won because of the defense. And I would say more often than not, if the defense lapses for the Bulls, going to lose. If Derrick Rose lapses for the Bulls, there's still a good chance to win because of the team defense, just like against the Heat. 9 of 24 shooting. Okay, this was his big MVP statement game, remember? But what if the Heat would have won? Would the media have said the same thing? No, they saw their little loophole and they pulled it. 9 of 24 shooting, the Bulls still win because of the defense. And this is the point that I've been trying to make to people that some people have such a hard time comprehending, that I believe the defense is more of a reason why we're where we're at right now than D. Rose. Tom Thibodeau, Coach of the Year, my opinion, hands down. People can say I'm biased. I think he is the job he's done with Chicago. He's got them to buy into the team defensive philosophy, and he's got our Bulls kicking butt on defense.
First, I got to say, Doug Collins has absolutely been tremendous here. Eddie Jordan was one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. The Sixers have already beaten what they won last year, and I'm not being a homer by that.
No, that's a great point.
He's got Iguodala and guys like that to play better than they've ever played. Elton Brand stayed healthy, obviously, but guys like Jody Meeks have stepped up. I think Doug Collins actually is Coach of the Year, but Thibodeau's right there.
And you know what? You probably have me sold on that, because I think that Doug Collins has less talent than Tom Thibodeau. But with that being said, let's get back into this MVP race. Okay? So, past Wade, Bosh, and LeBron, okay, we've already talked about Boozer. So, who do you guys consider to be the third best player on the Bulls? I would actually go with, this year, considering time missed and everything, I'd go with Luol Deng. Does anybody want to put someone over Deng?
Well, if Noah's healthy, I think I'd put them in the same class.
No, I would put Noah ahead of Luol if he was healthy, just because he's more of an anchor and his rebounding makes more of a difference. I know Bruce is. I know you really like Luol Deng a lot. I'm not really hot on Luol Deng, never have been. He has been playing well, but numbers-wise, besides three-point shooting, basically even par even from last year. It's just he's healthier. That's my personal opinion. I think Noah's it's opinion, but it's based on fact. But I think Noah is a better piece than Luol Deng if healthy.
Yeah, and I would agree with that because of his defensive presence, the rebounding, and the level of hustle he brings to the table. But the point I'm trying to make is we're arguing over the third and fourth spots on the Bulls. There is no argument over that with the Heat. There's a 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Okay, let me put it to you this way. Luol Deng has been playing better defense this year than Bosh by a long shot. Luol Deng has actually shown some defensive ability this year within the team offense. I mean, even on that three-pointer LeBron missed at the end of the Heat Bulls game, who was the one who jumped back out, closed out to contest that shot and threw LeBron way off? It was Deng. He's putting in a lot of effort on defense this year. But listen to this. Luol Deng, 17.7 points per game. Bosh, 18.3. Deng, 6.1 rebounds. Bosh, 8.1. He's a poor man's Bosh at the 3. His
contract doesn't make him look too poor, but yeah, he is pretty similar plus.
Very observant. Yes, he is overpaid, but nobody in the NBA fan base world even really knows anything about Luol Deng other than he hit that wide-open three-point shot. Okay? Luol Deng is having a hell of a season. He's playing damn good this year. He's one of the more underrated players in the game. So, now we start bringing in the Kyle Korvers. Okay? Now, Shawn can attest to this. Brewer, his anticipation on defense and his natural instinct on defense is just off the charts. Would you agree, Shawn?
Yeah, he does a good job. Meaning, like, when he's in there, I mean, and when Derrick Rose is sitting, I know they don't play the same position. You can see that they actually do pretty well when he's in there with the second unit. I think Joseph had the point system out there when Derrick Rose sits down. But I you know what I'm talking about, so.
Yeah.
What's the point?
No, the point is when he sits down. Joseph, could you clear this up for me? When Derrick Rose sits down, I'm talking about when the second unit comes in, along with Ronnie Brewer, the defense actually, they still maintain at the SG position. He does very well, and they still maintain their defense as long as their offense is playing well, too, with Derrick Rose out. So I was making kind of a double point. Joseph, you can add in real quick for me?
I see where you're going with this, yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about, folks, basically, when LeBron is out of the game, the Heat are .93. They're outscoring their opponent by .93 points per 100 possessions when LeBron is on the bench. Now, don't forget, majority of the time when LeBron is on the bench, Dwayne Wade is in the game.
Yep.
Okay, and Chris Bosh is also many times in the game with Dwayne. So take that into account. They score a little better than under 1 point over their opponent when LeBron's on the bench. Now, Derrick Rose, when he's on the bench, the Bulls are actually outscoring their opponent by almost 5 points. So what it goes to show you is that LeBron, I don't know if I can make that statement, but it kind of influences you to wonder if LeBron is more valuable to his team than even Derrick Rose is to the Bulls.
That's a great stat, because what it shows is, all right, let's put that in perspective. Let me put that in perspective here. Anybody have anything they want to add to that while I pull something up?
Yeah, I think if you, when Wade and Bosh just signed with the Heat, no one was too scared. I mean, the Heat last year, just alone with that team they had, and that was even with guys like Michael Beasley, they weren't very good. Adding Bosh, it would have improved them to like the 5th or 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, but it wouldn't have made them a whole lot better. Adding LeBron took them up like 6 or 7 seeds in the Eastern Conference and really made them a scary team, which is why I think LeBron is the MVP.
That's good. And let's take it from another point of view before we get back to Joseph's stats. What happened to Cleveland after LeBron left? That kind of goes without saying. So, basically, the Chicago Bulls are outscoring their opponents by 6 points per game. So when Rose is on the bench, it only drops 1 point. The ratio of how many points they outscore their opponents by. So the Miami Heat are outscoring their opponents by 8 points per game. So when LeBron's on the bench, that drops 7 points. So with Rose, it only drops a point. With LeBron, the ratio drops 7 points. That's to me, I'm sold. I mean, that right there, I'm sold. I don't know how anybody could be propping D Rose up to MVP when you hear that. So when D Rose is on the floor, the Bulls are outscoring their opponents by 6 points, people. I'm going to say it again. He hits the bench. Or wait, am I quoting that right? I better double check. So when he's on the floor, they're outscoring their opponents by 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
He hits the bench, and they're outscoring them, what was it, by a point, you said?
No, when he's on the bench, they're outscoring their opponent by 4.85.
Okay.
So almost 5 points. So there's only 1 point difference.
I got
it. Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I got it right. So it drops 2 points.
Well, not even 2 points, honestly. Just a little more than a point.
Yeah,
so
just a little more than a point.
Yeah.
So I was right the first time I said it.
Yeah,
just a little more than a point. So when Rose goes to the bench, there's not really a drop-off in play. Yeah. When LeBron goes to the bench, it's dropping 7 points. And we've seen that from watching the games, Joseph, because me and you have watched just about, I know I have. I've watched and recorded every Heat game this year.
Yeah, I have too. I've watched every one.
When LeBron hits the bench, it's like, who are these pieces of crap out on the floor?
Well, and that's the thing too, Bruce. It's not just offensively, and that's the part that's never brought up because, defensive statistics are never portrayed, in the same light as offensive statistics by the media. And when LeBron goes on the bench, not only do they suffer on offense, which in my opinion, they shouldn't suffer as much as they do because Dwayne Wade is out there, but that's a different subject. But defensively, they look like a totally different team too.
Absolutely, they do. He's the anchor of that defense. And that's what I brought up. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. If you plug LeBron let me say this first. If you plug Rose into Miami, they're probably, the 4th or 5th seed? I mean, they're a very good team, but they're not where they are now. if you plug LeBron in Chicago, is there any question they're probably the best team in the Eastern Conference?
Yes. Dude, it'd be the same team he had in Cleveland. with a upgrade at Anderson Varejão's position. You know, and I don't think people understand that. But let's get into why the media is doing this. And I think there's two obvious reasons.
I got some.
Oh, I'm sure you guys have a bunch. In my book, the media right now has an axe to grind with LeBron. And for whatever reason, when a player gets ready to hit that third straight MVP, like Nash, remember Nash had won 2 straight MVPs, then the year after a second straight MVP, he actually was playing even better than either year where he had the first 2, but there was this little notion in the media that, well, you know, Nash isn't good enough to be on that level with Larry Bird, a 3-time MVP winner. There's no way we can give it to him. I heard that everywhere. And
yeah, I thought he shouldn't have got it the second year in a row, and he should have got it the 1 year after that. I thought LeBron got shafted the year Steve Nash won his second MVP, and the following year, like you said, Nash played even better than the year he won his second.
But what was the notion we heard that year with LeBron? He's too young.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Team didn't win 50 games either, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think they did.
No, they did that year.
They did. What year was that? Remind me, was that 2006?
05-06. Where he had
31
exactly and a half, 7 and 6 or something like that.
Yeah, and then what was the team record? Do you guys remember?
It was like 49 wins or something.
49 wins.
They were right there. It was just, or it might have been 48, 47. I can double check while we go through this. But I think the other reason is, we've already talked about it. They're pimping D. Rose out there because he plays in Chicago. I mean, it's as simple as that. And when you get that big media market to buy into your network, everybody's getting paid more. Someone's getting a raise because you can start charging more for commercials and things of that nature. But what is all of your takes on why exactly? We can see it as clear as day that LeBron is simply more valuable to the Heat than D. Rose is to the Bulls. But why do you guys think the media is doing this?
One thing I'm not sure about, you said the media has an axe to grind with them. Wasn't ESPN, and I mean, I don't like to single out ESPN because I think some of what they do there is good, and I think it's more the national media. But why do they have an axe to grind with them if you're not from LA or New York? Like, why? These were the same people that were hyping up the decision, the same people that were hyping up LeBron, the next Michael Jordan. Same people.
I have an answer to that, and that I think that the honest truth is, like you said, they hyped up the decision, but ESPN went with how the national public responded. If they would have responded and not hated on LeBron and everyone, you know, crucified him, or whatever you want to call it, they wouldn't have done that. But since the nation responded in such a negative manner, ESPN, you know, pleases the people. That's my opinion on why.
And also it's the popular thing to do. Let's say, for instance, high school, the popular thing to do is to pick on this one person. A lot of people are going to do it. And the national media has really become very teenage-oriented, rumor-oriented. It has been for a while, even if you look at politics and so on. That it's just a popular thing to do. Am I not right? It's a popular thing. Yeah.
They're catering to frat boys.
Yeah, exactly. Could I make a good point real quick, guys? I want to talk about...
Only if it's good. It's
going to be a good point, guaranteed. All right, Derrick Rose's numbers this year, I'm going to bring them up real quick. He's shooting 45%. I'm going to round up. 20 attempts a game. He's getting more free throws, 6.3 attempts. He's shooting 84%, much props for that. 35% from three-point land. 24.9 points, 8.1 assists, 4.4 rebounds. I know LeBron's around 50% shooting, 26, 7, and 7, okay? Going back to the 90s, we all know Bruce and Joseph, they used to laugh about giving the MVP to somebody else, right?
Yes.
Correct? But I really believe Charles Barkley in 93 and in Karl Malone in 1997 actually have the numbers to prove that they could be a legit MVP.
Yeah, they did.
And I never had a problem with it.
Me either.
Okay? And the reason is, let's go back. I wanted to make this point. Here's the difference between the 90s and today. Charles Barkley in 1993, he averaged 25.6 points on 18 field goal attempts, 52% shooting. He shot 31% from three-point land, and he averaged 12.22 rebounds. If Charles Barkley was doing that in today's game, would he be MVP?
Oh, hands down.
Okay, could I go to Karl Malone real quick in 97?
Yeah.
27 points, because we have to have historical facts. When we talk about today's NBA, the 80s NBA, 70s, 60s, we need to put everything in perspective. 1996, 1997, 27.4 points, 10 rebounds, 55% shooting on 19.2 field goal attempts. If Karl Malone played in this era, guys, would he be MVP today?
Oh, yeah.
With that type of numbers.
Yep.
Okay. Derrick Rose
I just got to jump in here. I got to go.
Good.
Thanks for letting me on. Obviously, East Coast time's a bit up, and I got school tomorrow, so thanks.
All right, Tim. Hey, I'll send you the file. If you want to put any of this up on your channel, feel free.
All right. I will. All right, thanks.
Take it easy.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, point in case, right? That we are different. We are dealing with a different animal, and this is what people have to understand. Derrick Rose is our hometown boy, and I'm going to bring this up. There's a difference. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, I'm going to say this over and over again, Michael Jordan, some of these great players learned how to control the tempo of the game, controlling the ball without having the ball. You could see it defensively, offensively. I know Magic, not so much on the defensive side. Bruce and Joseph, you could probably attest to me on that, right? But Derrick Rose and LeBron James, what I see from both of them I like. I want to give both of them props. They know how to control the game. Not so much Derrick Rose on defensive side, but LeBron knows how to control the game like the all-time greats, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is LeBron may, in fact, numbers-wise, be the MVP, right? I personally think right now he's 1A to me. He's the MVP, and I would put Derrick Rose at 1B because when I watch the games, I watch probably all the Bulls games, there's a certain attitude about Derrick Rose that I like. It's not saying that, he's being somebody different than he was before, but there's certain tempo of the game that I see he's controlled. I said this on the earlier podcast. I give them both recognition, but numbers-wise, and if you talk about when LeBron goes on the bench, and Joseph brought up those great, great numbers, LeBron James is the MVP. And as big as a Chicago Bulls fan I am, and I do like LeBron James a lot. I am a fan of his. I enjoy watching him play. You got to give him the nod over the actual team play. When he sits down, come on, guys, Eric Slostraw, and I'm going to say Slostraw over and over again, when he decided to sit LeBron down in the second quarters, in the beginning of the games, do you see how out of hand that game gets? Boston Celtics, we can point out. We can point out the other Boston Celtics games. We can point out a few more games where he sits out Dwayne Wade, takes the point guard position, and the team completely falls and folds. It doesn't happen the same with the Chicago Bulls, but I believe they have more of a team.
Well, it makes sense.
Well, they're already proving it right now if you're watching the game.
Yeah.
By the way, but I was going to chime in there too, Bruce, and I was just curious about your opinion because, like you said, 3 MVPs in a row. They're very reluctant to do that. Okay, it's been that way since Bird, basically. Now, you take in the public perception of LeBron. I think that plays a huge role too.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's voted on by media guys. It's voted like announcers get a vote. All these LA Times, beat writers, they get a vote. That's who votes on it. And these are the guys that have been bashing LeBron all year. Okay? What if LeBron go back to the decision. If LeBron had gone to Chicago, don't you guys think he wouldn't have received near as much heat?
Oh, no. Heck.
Okay, so he goes to Chicago, everyone goes, "Oh, Chicago's back, since Michael Jordan," and everyone makes a big deal. Okay, and let's say he performed and put up the same numbers he is right now for the Heat. I think he's a lock for the MVP. Okay? I think because of where he went, people didn't like it. That's going to be actually the main reason why I don't think he'll win it.
Well, it's also superstar syndrome. The NBA media and the fan base only recognize the superstars.
Mm-hmm.
They don't keep track of the role players. They don't look at team defense unless the media is pumping up the Celtics defense or something. They don't look at all that stuff. They just look at the superstars. Well, he's got two guys I know in Wade and Bosch. And who does Rose have next to him again? I don't know who any of those guys are. Oh, yeah, that crazy Joakim Noah who said that stuff about Cleveland. I think that also factors into it.
No, I agree.
And the fact that Dwayne Wade has a championship already, and that's pretty big. That's in the whole not for us guys, but I'm saying because we understand the game, but whole media and population-wise, is they look at it as, well, Dwayne Wade has a Finals MVP and he has a championship. Wait a minute. It stops everybody in their tracks and makes them think to that route with actually looking at the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is another point that I want to bring up. Okay, so Carmelo Anthony basically held his team hostage all year. All right? When LeBron could have said, you know what, my supporting cast disappears come playoff time. After that 2008 series against the Magic, where, my gosh, I mean, LeBron had one of the more incredible individual series that we've seen in a long time. He went off. That was incredible. But the supporting cast did nothing. After that, he could have come out and said, you know what, it's just not going to happen here. I want out. You guys might as well look for a place to trade me. I want to go to New York, where he'd get paid, by the way. He would get paid in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. But anyway, he could have done that. But he just waited till he became a free agent. He gave his hometown Cavaliers a chance to put the team together. It didn't happen. Everybody in the freaking world wanted to know, where's LeBron going to go? Where's he going to go? He's coming here. Hey, look, he was wearing Bulls gear at some party. We were all excited because we all thought our team had a chance to get him. So, for me, the decision program was appropriate. Because what was he going to do? Walk outside and tell the mailman? He was going to announce it live on TV no matter what way you look at it.
Well, Bruce, to back you up, I want to back you up here. And for all the people that hate on it, and I can't believe you did that. Folks, the amount of viewers that tuned in to watch the decision was more than any other viewership for any regular season game that entire year.
Yeah.
The entire year. I think it was a crazy number, 10 million, something like that tuned in. So obviously people were curious.
They were
and
curious.
Come on, guys. Look. Let's look at it this way also. We created the animal, right? We created the media. We created this animal. The fans created it also, right? We created, look at LeBron in high school. The media created the king. The media created, let's watch all his high school games on ESPN. And when this happened, you have the nerve. Like, I actually bashed LeBron about it, but I talked to Joseph about it and another friend of mine. If we actually think about it, how can we be mad at something we created or the media created? How can we be mad at that? That's the stupidest thing. I think we laid into the guy for something that we created. So it's like we made the meal, right? We made a great meal. We passed it on, even though the meal's great. We're like, it tastes like shit. It doesn't make sense. We did it. We shouldn't kill the person for it.
And Shawn, here's the thing too. If people don't remember, 2-3 weeks before the decision took place, even a week leading up to it, there was tons of teams that thought they had a shot. Okay, it wasn't just between New Jersey Nets or New York. Even the Clippers thought they had a freaking shot. So you take that into effect. LeBron picks Miami. Everyone's pissed because they thought they had a shot.
Yeah.